Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. And I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class because it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Central Time where I'm at, and it is Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. A big welcome to all of you. A big welcome to those of you that are new. So if you're tuning in and you're watching the live, you'll want to make sure that you are logged into your Google or YouTube account, and that allows you to chat in the chat as long as you're on a device that allows that. And a big welcome to Trisha Josephs, who is our moderator. She is here to help answer questions because I am not good at catching everything as the live commenting comes through. And so, yes, please, tag her if you need to, especially if she didn't see your question. She's pretty good at it though, but to tag anybody in the group, you just put the @ sign, the A with the circle around it, and then start typing their name, and it will allow their name to pop up on their screen, nice and bright and like in orange letters. So, and also a big welcome to all of you who keep coming back. I love you. Thank you to all of you who subscribe to my channel. If you're not subscribed, you can do that right now, and you can make sure that your notifications are turned on by clicking on that bell. I appreciate the thumbs up. I appreciate the sharing. And also a big thank you to my my members. I've got two kinds of memberships that you can pay into if you'd like to pay into my channel and help support it. It helps to pay for equipment, such as my new iPad that I got a few months back, that sort of thing. But you can have the level at 99 cents per month, which helps. And there's also a level at $5.99 per month. And that gives you access to at least one free video per month. Now, I have given more things in the past, like little, just on the spur of the moment, little lives and stuff like that. Sent cards to a few members who watched a live one time, that sort of thing. But summer has been busy for us. So you may notice that some of those things are just kind of fallen by the wayside, but I'm not forgetting. I'm coming back and giving you more soon. Anyways, yeah, and the special emojis too. There are special emojis. Okay, we're gonna do a fun card today. And this card is a new fun fold, at least one that I haven't seen out there because I've created it. I've taken the star column fold, the star column fold, the fun fold card that you may have seen in the past. It was one that I've shared a few times now because it's just so amazing. And I've taken and kind of like cut it in half and mounted it onto a flat card base. And so I am giving it a whole new name. We're going to call it the Pop-Up Diamond Tiara. So it's pretty cool. Can't wait to share it with you. But first, I'm going to bring you to the desktop and show you the cards that my members got to do, or see me make, I should say, when we had our membership live just this past weekend. It was a Sunday night. So this was the card that I was promising that I was going to share with them. And then basically we changed our mind in the beginning and said, you know what, let's do another version of it. So you can find measurements for this, I believe, and I'm going to check really quick here. I believe they are on my, yes, on my July 26th blog post. So if you have not seen my blog post, you can visit StampYourArtOut.com. You can click on subscribe under the home drop-down tab. There's also a button. And then that way you can see every time I share on my blog. But these particular cards, you can see photos of them there. You can get the measurements. It's just that my instruction was for my members. Some of you who are really, advanced at paper crafting. I know, look, isn't that cool? Really advanced at paper crafting can probably figure out the instructions though. So yay, yay, yay. You want to use palindromes. We use this Thoughtful Designs specialty paper for these cards. And so I fell in love with it again. Like every time I pull out something that I've had in my stash for a while, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to keep using that because it is such beautiful paper. So we're going to be bringing that in for today's card. I'm going to bring you to my computer. Let me pull this up real quick. And we are going to take a peek at, oh, that's the wrong one. Oh, I know why. I still have to revise this. I'm going to show it to you anyways. You can see my mistake. You see where I have to revise? There is a picture that needs to be changed. because this still isn't quite ready. And silly me thought it was. I was going to share it with you, but it's not ready. And my blog post won't be ready yet either because we're going to do a third version. We have two versions, 1, 2, that you're going to see in just a minute. And then you're going to see the third version that I'm going to make for you. But here are the measurements, the supplies. There's a title at the top and a date. And then, of course, photos will be there so that you can go to my blog post. The link will be in the description of the video when it's ready. And then you can access this PDF. You can see the photos again. You can see the measurements written in that blog post along with visual supplies that you can click on and shop from. Okay, let's move that out of the way for now. And I'm going to bring my cards in. Actually, you saw photos of them, so let's just start creating, okay? Let's just get going with this. And we're gonna start with the Tiara part. So let's go down to the desktop again. So fun to see you guys chatting before the live starts. I love that. So if you ever come on the live before it begins, you can chat still, right? Because the link is there. You can like log into your YouTube or Google account and you can start chatting. And I catch those comments pretty well at the beginning as long as I'm like organized enough and on time. So it was fun. I got to chat with a lot of people today. Thank you for those links there, Trisha. You're so good. So let me show you this beautiful paper. Oh, and I wanted to mention that I'm still sitting down. I attempted to stand up today. And then I was like 3 minutes before the live started. I'm like, Rachel, be real. You're going to get tired. So I'm sitting down even though I'm not completely tired right now. So, but yeah, this is the beautiful Thoughtful Designs specialty paper. Gorgeous, gorgeous pieces in here. You get 2 sheets of 5 designs, and you can see that they've got a foiling on them that's very silverish looking. It's not like a bright silver, it's more like a matte kind of silver. And then you have like colors that change on the paper. They go from one to another, and sometimes the shades change too, but mainly they're monochromatic. Like this one here, this one is pink to orangish, right? It's so stunning. So ombre, gradient, whatever you want to call it, depending on the sheet. Stunning papers. And then we have a purple, there's a purple one too that I already cut up. So there's this pink and orangish one, and then this purple one, which you can't see all of anymore because it's pretty much cut up. And then we have this green one. So hopefully you saw the 5 different styles. We're gonna work on the blue one, but I'm gonna use, let's see here. I'm just gonna use a sheet of 2-toned cardstock to give you an idea of what we're doing. So you're gonna have a sheet, you're gonna cut your paper to the designer paper, I should say. You're gonna cut it initially to 8 inches. And this is how you're gonna make the most out of your paper. So 4 by 8 is what you want, okay? So let's say you have a 4 by 8 here, here, and here. Okay, oops, sorry, let me get them all on the screen. I'll do that again. All right, so you got 3, because 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12. You got your 12 by 12 paper. Another one can fit here, because 8 plus another 4 is 12. Then you just have this 4 by 4 square left, and from that you can get your 1 by 4 pieces, 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 4 for all 4 sections. The only thing that you're going to be missing are the little tiny, if you looked at the measurements, there's little tiny pieces that are, oh, and I still have to change the measurements on this too. I don't think they're correct. Oh yeah, they are. They are. Okay, so the 1 by 4 is what you're going to get your 3/4 and your 1/4 out of. Okay, so when you rewatch this video, because you're going to need to probably do that, you can print off or download this PDF and then compare what I'm saying to the PDF so it makes sense. So you're going to have a 1 by 4 piece that's going to give you your 3/4 by 4 and your 1/4 by 4. Then the last thing that you're going to need are tiny little pieces that are this shape. They're 1 inch by a 1/2 inch scored in the middle. Okay, these are little mechanisms. And you can do that from extra designer paper, but you're going to have to grab it from another sheet, just so you know. Or you can forfeit or change your 1x4 strip to something else. Okay, let's move these out of the way. Actually, I need my blue one because we're going to use the blue because that is the third color. We're going to do 3 colors. There, even though there's 5 in here, I only made 2 others plus what we're going to do today. Okay, rearranging things. Got to stay organized. So from this sheet, so let's see, what is it? Oh, it's 8 and a little over half. From this sheet, I still think I'm going to cut in this direction. We're going to do a 4-inch by 8-inch piece. So this is now something we're not using. So ignore the way I'm cutting it now. I'm working from scraps. 4 by 8, and I think I'm going to do my 8 inches this way because I like this real drastic change of color that's happening here. Well, you know what? I'm looking in the camera now. I'm going to go a little further in. We're going to do our 1 inch from this. No, we're not. Hang on. Okay, let's just do this. Let's just do this because I want it to be nice and bright too. So we're going to use this direction. So there's our 4 by 8 piece. Then we're going to cut 3/4 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch from a 1-inch piece. Now the 1-inch piece, first thing that you're going to see, and I'm going to zoom in again. The first thing that you're going to want to have is your 3/4 inch piece here and your smaller one from the other side of it. Because this side is going to flow a bit from this piece. It doesn't have to, but that's just the way I want to do it. So we're going to cut that, and then we're going to cut another 1/4 inch from here, like that. We also need, oops, let's drag that over. So these kind of like all fit together like a puzzle. Let's just set those down. And then you're also going to need your scraps of blue. And I'm just peeking to see if I have scraps from another time. Oh yeah, that piece is just about the same size, so let's just cut it from here. And if you're smart, you can do your 1/2 inch scoring first at the, no, let's just do this because we don't want scoring through everything because I might use that piece later on. So 1 by 1, and I'm going to do the darker end. 1 by 1. If you're using a different kind of designer paper, you don't have to really think about the pattern as much unless it's directional. If you have directional paper such as, a paper like this, then you definitely want your cuts to be 4 inches tall by 8 inches wide. And then for this one, again, it kind of flows, so you're probably going to have your continuation of your pieces the way I shared. Okay, let's do a score. And then let's turn it and do a cut. There. Now we have all of our designer paper pieces ready. Let's do that part first, the assembly of the tiara, or tiara, however you want to say it. I've heard it pronounced both ways. Tiara, tiara. Okay, we're going to score this now, and this is similar, like I said, to the star column card, but if you want it to fit onto your into your envelope that we, this size, here, I'm just going to pull one out from here. No, I'm going to grab one from over here. Oh, Rachel, it's good for me. I need to walk. I had surgery, by the way, for those of you that are newer or don't know what's going on. I had foot surgery. I'm okay. So if it's going to fit into this size envelope, we need to make the star part. Well, you could use the star column fold measurements, but then you're using up more paper. And this measurement system that I'm giving you now is it's gonna make use of your 12 by 12 paper the best, I guess. And you saw that earlier. So let's do some different kind of scoring than what we've had before. We're going to score at 1/4 inch. Then we're going to score at 1 inch. So we're going to go in 3/4 inch increments. So 1/4 plus 3/4 is 1 inch, plus another 3/4, which we don't have over here. So now we have to flip this around. So 1 plus 3/4 is 1 3/4. Zoom in a little so you can see better. So 1 3/4. So again, the measurements so far are 1/4, 1 inch, 1 3/4, 2 1/2, and I'm going to check to see if I wrote my measurements right on my paper, 3 1/4, and I did. So when you get the PDF, you'll have the measurements there too. 4 inches, 4 3/4, 5 1/2, and now we need to open the arm of our trimmer, and we're going to go to 6 1/4, which is right here. So you're going to have to use your glasses or have the light on to make sure you can see it. And that's 6 1/4, and then we're going to go to 7, and we're going to go to 7 3/4, and that leaves us with another 1/4 inch on this side. So our 1/4 inch pieces here, those are going to be tabs that get glued and help hold our tiara together. Did I tell you that I have new hair on? I do. I'm so excited about it. This is my, oops, hang on, I'm here. Where did I go? There I am. Okay, so this here is a new topper, and I got it from Highline Wigs, and it's in the color Dimensional Blonde, and it is a closed lace topper. For those of you who are following my hair journey, that is what I'm wearing today, and I'm so excited because the hair is good quality. My a couple of my toppers have gotten fluffier and kind of split endy over time, and they do. Like the hair toppers and wigs, they don't last forever, just so you know. Okay, so we're gonna fold this in half, and I'm gonna use my bone folder. Here it is. I've got a trick to share with you today too, a little tip that I got Marcia Mendenhall from my Stampers with Art community. She shared it in our team group, and I'm going to share that with you today because we're going to do some gluing, some fun gluing. Okay, so we're folding this in half, and then we're going to start at either end and fold to that center area, towards the center area, on 4 score lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one, we're not going to score yet. Okay, just leave that one. Turn it over, do the same thing. Score. That's 2. This is 3. And this is 4. Okay, now we're going to flip it over, and we have a score line here that we need to crease and a score line here. And they're going in the opposite direction. So now we can fold and crease on those 2 score lines. And what you're going to get is a shape. When you look at the top of it, to me, it reminds me of kind of like, I don't know. Oh, it goes this way. Kind of like a bat. Okay. All right. So now we're going to do some gluing, some taping, I should say. So I'm going to take these 2 sections here, and we're going to put adhesive on them. I'm going to use my silicone sheet because your silicone sheet can be your friend, especially when you have a very narrow area and you're going to be using a wider type of adhesive tape runner. So I'm still going to glue just on that strip, but you'll notice that the tape part of that kind of like sticks all the way to the silicone. And sometimes it'll stay on the silicone, but you can just wrap it back onto itself, any excess. And now I just have tape within that section. We're going to fold to the second score line. Oh, I should move this out of the way just to role model. I don't have to because there's no stickiness on it anymore, but just make sure that that's not under your project if it's sticky. So we're folding on the second score line. Then we're going to take this piece here that folded the opposite direction, and we're going to press and grab onto where the tape was, and now you have a little diamond shape for your tiara. Okay, we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So we're going to glue, and you can glue on this. You totally can glue or whatever. Sorry, I didn't mean to use the word glue. I taped, and I'm just pulling that back onto itself, making sure the underside does not have adhesive. Folding to the second score line, grabbing this one that's folded in the opposite direction. Hi, Wendy. And connecting right onto that sticky part. Now, if you have any stickies going on here that are coming out, this is the time that you'll want to use like an adhesive eraser. I gotta have one here. You can find those in my favorite extras, but you'll want to like clean it up a little bit because you don't want any stickies going beyond where they shouldn't be. Okay, so we have 2 diamonds in there. Now, looking at this opposite side that we don't want, this is the side we do, this is the side we don't. We're gonna fold this edge and this edge, the tops of the diamonds, inward. And that's gonna create a 3rd diamond shape. When you put 2 of these together, you get that star column card. This is just a smaller version of it. And why is it 4 inches tall? Again, because we're making use of the designer paper the best way, but you can totally make this 4 1/4 inches tall and adjust all your measurements if you want your card to be exactly that 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch size, okay? I'm just making it 4 inches tall because it's not that big of a deal to lose a 1/4 inch from the top in my mind. All right, next, let's go on to the card base. So the card base is made from, because we can't do this until we have the card base ready. The card base is made from a portion of the, and I'll zoom out. Oops, hang on. There we go. A portion of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. You could use 12 by 12 cardstock if you want to. Then you could get 3 from one, but I'm gonna get 2, and I'm gonna have lots of cardstock down here left over because I'm gonna cut in this direction at 4 inches. And this is going to be my base. Now, I could cut another one, and then I have all of this to use for the white circle and the white flower, but I do have a scrap here too that I can use for that. So let's talk about another thought here. I'm going to turn it in this direction just to get another piece out of here. So if you want to, you can cut your 8 1/2 by 11 into your 4 pieces that we normally could get out of an 8 1/2 by 11. This measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and you could get your bases out of that if you wanted to. You could even cut it to 4 inches tall. But I wanted my card to open also, and because this tiara part pops up, because it pops up and it stays flat when it's in the card, it's gonna have like this tucking area for your card. So because of that, we're gonna score at 5 1/2 inches. We're gonna fold this part in. This is the part that's gonna open. And you can see here, because my star is smaller than the other measurements for the star column fold card, because this portion here is smaller, it's gonna allow this area to not be caught underneath it. And we even have a little bit of room over here, which is awesome. Okay, now let's take some pieces that we've already cut to size. We have 2 strips, and actually I made a mistake. They're supposed to be different sizes, but they can be the smallest size. This green one here that's gonna go on the inside needs to be just under 3/8 inches wide by 4 inches tall, and this one can be 3/8 or even a little bit bigger if you want it to. It's just going to be a strip that accents the front one, so it can be a little bit wider, but I made them both the same. They're both just under 3/8 of an inch. And then we also have a piece of green that, these are the accent colors, by the way. We also have a piece of green, this is garden green, that is 1 1/2 inches wide by 4 inches tall. And that's going to allow us to have a piece under 1/2 of this tiara. All right. And we're going to just shove it out just a little bit so it peeks out, but it also supports this area without making it really bumpy. We're going to add that just with any kind of adhesive. I'm just using my tape because it's faster. We're going to add that with a little bit of white sticking out here to this left edge. I love doing like 1/16 of an inch peaks of color. So there we have our green on top of our white. And then we're gonna move to, let's go ahead and add this next. I think I can add this next. Yes, I can add this next. But actually, No, we can do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and tape this now. Now, on the star column card, if you're recalling again, that had a little supporting piece here, but we don't necessarily need that because it's going to be supported once it's stuck down in place. So we're going to put adhesive right here and right here so that when those middle sections connect to the card, the side sections can still pop up. So carefully make sure that you're within those folds, and you're going to put adhesive here, and you want to go out to that fold line area. You don't want it to be like just in the middle. In fact, it's more important that you put adhesive closer to these score lines than closer to the middle. Now we're going to take this and turn it upside down. Keep it flat. You want to keep it in a flat position. You're going to lay it next to the green, so that that green just has a little bit of a peak there. It can pop out just a bit when the card is flat. And then we'll lay it in place, press it down, and now you can see the tiara or tiara part of our card. Isn't that fun? Hi, Lisa. Glad that you were able to come. Hi, Gail. Thanks, Heidi, for coming. All right, so now let's do some coloring. Now, this is optional. You don't have to, but I want to have this piece that's going to get tucked under here. I want this piece to have a little burst of color. So we're going to bring in some blending brushes, and I forgot my other ink. Lost Lagoon. Lost Lagoon. And my Lost Lagoon blending brush. Oops. I need two hands to grab it. My Lost Lagoon blending brush. Okay, that one is Pool Party. Here's Lost Lagoon. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of Lost Lagoon here. By the way, if you see any supplies that I'm sharing visually, I got a little piece of something on there, like these Tailored Expressions containers, or I'm gonna be showing you this fun little thing here. You can find them in my favorite extras on my website at stampyourartout.com. Just go to shop and then click on my favorite extras, and then you're able to see some of these other things. There's also a couple links in the video description for some of the products, a couple of the products. Okay, so we're gonna do some blending here. So I'm just picking up some color by putting my blending brush on top of the pad. You can see that it's denser in color than it was when I first started. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of removal of some of that color over here. And now I'm gonna start to the left because that's gonna get covered up. And as I come in, I'm gonna see just this little haze of a bluish tone come into my card. It's always, you know what, it looks so much better in person than it does in the camera. Anyways, just a little haze of color. Now we're going to close this up, put this away, and we're going to bring in basic gray ink. So for my orangish card, I used Cajun Craze instead of Lost Lagoon, and for my purpley card, I used Highland Heather. Those will be, I think they're also listed in the description. So we're using basic gray for our sentiment on the outside and the inside of the card. We also need a scrap of green. Rachel forgot the scrap of green. Oh, yeah, let me grab that. And we're gonna do some die cutting. So I'm gonna grab that, and I'll just grab these two. Okay, let's bring in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And we're gonna do some die cutting. So we have, this is really close. We have platform number 1, the die adapter plate number 2 for a little lift, scratchy plate number 3, and then my less scratchy plate goes on top. I'm gonna lay these down here. I also have some white that I wanna die cut. So I'm gonna put that on here. And we're gonna grab our dies. So the stamp set and die bundle that I'm using for this card, usually I introduce those in the beginning, but you guys, we just had to do the tiara or star part first. The Label Me Grateful stamp set and the Label Me Grateful dies. So I'm gonna pull these out, and I'm gonna grab this one and this one, and my flower. And set this all up. Hopefully we can get the circle from that too. You know what, we might not be able to. Let's just use this scrap of white. I had another scrap of white over here. Must have been when I cut all that white paper in the beginning. Okay, so we're cutting from these three scraps. And then we also need to punch a couple circles, okay? So let's go ahead and roll that through. Gotta love this machine. Okay, the little rollers inside press everything together super hard, and then you get your cutout shapes. So we have our flower. Looks like our leaves are stuck within. We're gonna take care of that. We'll put these behind. And there it is. There's one, and there is another. Let me take my scissors and poke it. There's little holes on tops of the dies so that you can release your paper if it gets stuck in there. Oops. There's 1, 2, and then I need my flower. There we go. All right. Now let's do the next step of the card. So the next step of the card is to put together this piece that's going to go right here on the, it's going to go right here on the front. I forgot to mention that I also used a piece, and I want to make sure, yes, I did. I used a piece of silver foil too. So let's do that. Let's do some punching. We'll do some punching of our circles. So sorry, taking just a quick little sidetrack here. We have two punches that are really close in size. This is a new punch called, it's the 1 7/8 inch punch. And then I have my 2-inch punch. The 2-inch punch is gonna punch from my silver, but I don't have a lot of silver left. So I'm gonna punch from this edge. So I can still use some over here to cut out. And then I need to have a smaller circle, but I'm gonna stamp first. And I'm stamping first because the stamp set that I have, the Label Me Grateful, is a cling stamp set. You can't see through it like you can with photopolymer. So I want to make sure that I can punch in the right spot, stamp in the right spot, that sort of thing. I'm going to lift this up with my clear block, open my ink pad, just like a compact. Tap, tap, tap. Now I've got ink on there, and I'm going to stamp it down. And then I'm going to take my punch upside down, drag it in here, and center and punch. Boy, I made use of that scrap pretty well, didn't I? That's going in the trash. Okay, we're going to use this again, so I'm not going to put it far away. But we're done with the punches. And next, and we're done with that stamp. So now we need to cut a little bit of silver from this because we've punched from it. So we can cut out our silver, and our silver is 3/4 of an inch wide, or 3/8, sorry. 3/8 by 4. I think that's what I wrote on the measurements. Yep, 3/8 by 4. Okay, now we have all our pieces. Now we can move on, Rachel. Alrighty. Shove that stuff out of the way. So for this next layer that's going to go here, we want to use a green. That's a 3/8 inch wide one, or the wider one. But again, I have them both the same size. And then we want to use our silver, and then we want to use this wider strip. And the wider strip needs to kind of flow in design. So I'm just checking to see. It looks like the darker, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right, so we're going to stick that on here. I'm doing the darker down here and the lighter up here, if that's okay. And we want to have some of that silver and green sticking out from here. So the silver is first to connect. We're going to take this, flip it over, put our adhesive on here, onto that edge. Then we're going to line that up because I'm right-handed, I'm turning it this way. Line it up, and we're going to connect to have just a little smidge of silver sticking out there. Next, we're going to put adhesive on the back side of the silver. You guys, who are you going to give this card to if you make it? Who would love a pop-up card like this with a tiara on it? I think anybody. You don't even have to call it a pop-up tiara card, and you could give it to someone who doesn't like crowns. So there we have our silver and our green. And on one card that I have finished already, I left a little bit of white over here, I believe. And then on the other one, I just stuck it all the way to the edge. I think I am going to leave a little bit of white. We're going to put adhesive on the back of that whole thing, but I'm not going to stick it down yet, because our next step is to put our branches here, and they're going to get tucked under that spot. And you see how intricate they are? It's going to be hard to just, put your, where's my glue? It's going to be hard to just take your glue out and kind of like dab on your little glue, even if you have your precision tip bottle. So what I'm going to show you is a really fun technique. Rather than using a sponge and sponging your glue onto the back side of this, and this eventually having to be thrown away because it gets really gummy and all that stuff, you can use a silicone brush. Now I've already cut one down, and basically, and this comes from Amazon. I have links to this in my favorite extra too. They come as a set of 5. I think the largest one I'm just going to put in my kitchen, and the other ones I have as gifts for friends. But you can find and buy just single silicone brushes if you want to. But what's great about them is that you have this surface here that has like the ability to put glue on, right? It's nice and stable because we're going to trim it. And then you can take and you can pull off after it's dried. You can come in here and get rid of all that excess glue. This was just from yesterday, and I had all this extra glue that I can now take and roll up and throw in my trash. It's easy to clean. In fact, don't use alcohol on it because it's just going to make it more of a mess in my mind. That's what I saw on this video. I just pull it like that, and it cleans it up real nice. You could maybe soak it in alcohol or something else to kind of clean it up. Maybe vinegar would clean it up, but the initial cleaning after using it, don't worry about all that. Take a long scissors and aim it about 1/4 of an inch from the base and just start cutting. Don't look back. Just cut. You see how some of these at the end are kind of getting wacky looking? That's okay. You can come back in, flip it over maybe, and just trim it and get those nice and level, or level enough. They don't have to be perfect because they're going to bounce anyways. And now you have your little tool. And look at that, all this fun stuff. That goes in the trash. Okay. We need our leaf because we need to have our silicone mat and our leaf. And sorry, I'm talking away from the camera. Okay, now we can flip these over. Got all this plasticky stuff here. Okay, flip these over, and we're going to put glue on the back sides. I'm just going to use this one because that's the one I've been using. Put a little pile of glue there. Did you see this? This is the new glue holder from the Country Hive. It is so cute, and it's so perfect for summer. So make sure that you check out thecountryhive.com and see all of her great little storage pieces and organizers for your craft room. Okay, you see what's happening here? I'm collecting glue onto that side of the brush, and you have these little dots of glue. I'm just going to glue the lower half. It gives me a place to hold on to the leaf. Plus that leaf can also be something that kind of lifts up off the card a bit. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue down here. I'm going to grab my finger, or you could grab like a one of these, a tweezers or something to help you. But I'm going to lift that up, and then I'm going to stick it down here on my card so that the leaf doesn't go beyond this folded edge here. I'm just going to press that down, and I'm going to do my other leaf, same way. Oh, and I don't want to put my paper into the area that's already got a gluey mess. So Make sure that you're not in the same spot, and make sure that this doesn't move when you are putting glue on it, because otherwise you're going to get glue on the back side. This one's going to be a little further tipped up like that. I'm going to move this out of the way, let that dry. Okay, there we have our leaves on the front. And this is going to get covered, this little edge here. So we're going to flip this over now. And we're going to add this to our card with just a little hint of white. The flip-flops holder is so cute, isn't it, Cam? All right, so there is that so far. Isn't that fun with the little hint of blue underneath the leaves? Just a little glow of blue. Okay, we're going to flip it over. Boy, I got all these gummy things that are coming off of my hands from cleaning that brush. All right, this one now is going to get aligned with the green one. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue from, this time I'm going to use my precision tip bottle. That is the one thing. If you're a beginning paper crafter, you want to invest in a lot of different kinds of adhesives. The multi-purpose liquid glue, which I've transferred into a precision tip bottle when I want to have a really, really tiny area to glue. That one is probably the most cost affordable. Like, you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck if you use, that's okay. I didn't check which side, but it doesn't matter because this is going on the inside of the card. Nobody's going to see. No one's going to see if the colors line up really well. So that's okay. We're just going to have that little hint of green there. But yeah, you can create a lot of cards with this glue because glue goes a long way. This is probably a way more expensive choice, but it's nice and clean and neat. I love using it. Then you have like glue dots, which are, I'm going to use in a minute. You have tear and tape adhesive, which is awesome. That's a nice strong adhesive. Okay, so we have our adhesive on there. So we have this little piece here, and I'm going to do the same thing where I add a little bit of glue just there. Flip it over, and I want my green to come towards the center with just a little hint of white again. Did I do it? Oh, it slipped on me. Because it's glue, it moves a little bit sometimes, so you want to make sure that it is staying where you want to have it. Okay, now we have our white hint on that side and our white little glow of cardstock on that side. It gets tucked under. Let's add the flower. The flower has these tiny little, and I'm going to zoom in now, these tiny little center parts. Not all of them fell out when I cut it with the die cutting machine, but I'm just going to poke them and kind of pull those out. Blow, clean off my desk, sweep them up later. So now we have that, but I took them all off because if one is off, you might as well have all of them off. You're going to see through. So when you put this onto your card, wherever you put it, you're going to see a little bit of the paper behind it. So I have it on my cards shifted so that just the green is showing through. I'm going to use a glue dot. So I'm opening it up, and that glue dot is centered right there. So when I come down on top of it, I want to have my flower centered so it picks up that glue dot. You're going to have glue that's not perfectly on the back side, but that is quite fine. If you want to, you can take and, use your adhesive eraser, not your adhesive eraser, your, what's that called? The embossing buddy. You can take and pounce there if you want to, but I don't feel any of the adhesive coming through. It's not sticky. So that's done. Now we want to do, let's do some stamping next. Now that we have this folded, we can stamp here. This is the part where you may want to have like another layer of cardstock because, again, this is a stamp set that is cling. So you can't see through the stamps. When you're stamping down on here, you're taking a chance that it's going to be straight and look good. Okay, so you're the best. So grateful for that heart of yours. A little kindness makes a difference. You are so appreciated. You're the best. Thank you. I think I'll just put thank you on the inside. You're the best. Thank you. And then I have more room to write. So let's mount that stamp. And we're going to test it out. Sorry. I I haven't cleaned off my blocks in a while. They're kind of dusty. But we're going to test out that stamp, and we're going to test it out on our grid paper to see. So when I stamp it down, I am looking at the lines of my grid paper, and I'm going to make sure that when I pick it up, it looks straight. Now, if it doesn't look straight, I have to compensate for that and shift it so that when I stamp it onto my card, it's going to be straight. All right. Do you keep your precision tip glue bottle in anything? Yes, I use this. It looks like a Stickles holder or whatever they call that stuff. This is another thing that's sold on the Country Hive's website. And I love that it comes in all of these magic colors, they call them. They're like flow of different, isn't that kind of cool? It's got green and pink in there. So, yes. Thank you for the question, Brenda. Okay, so let's ink it up. Tap, tap, tap. We have our ink onto our stamp. Now we're going to use the lines of the grid paper. It looks like in the camera, it looks pretty straight too. Stamp it down. Ooh, look at that. That's way off. So let's do some practice. So it has to be tipped a little bit downward. So when I stamp this, I'm going to position straight, and then I'm going to come down a bit. That looks better. Okay, are you ready, guys? Straight, and then tip down a bit and stamp it. Oh, I did it. So that's how you make up for mounting your stamps incorrectly. Okay. You just practice on your grid paper. I do love the photopolymer stamps. So much better for precise stamping. But if I messed that up, you know what I could do? I could just take more white, some scrap white, and I could put an extra layer in here. In fact, on one card that I'm going to show you, I do have a layer in there because the base is a different color. Okay, so that's done. Now we have to do our top sentiment, which we've already stamped. And we have these two pieces. So I'm going to mount this onto, and here's where you might want to use the glue, because I use 3 strips of seal adhesive, and just doing around the perimeter would probably be, well, except I'm stamping it on foil. In foil, it's a little bit harder because it moves more on foil. Like your paper, have you guys glued on foil before? I mean, it will dry, but it tends to like shift around and get slimy, and not slimy, but slippery. Okay, these two pieces are going to get mounted here, and we want to fold them in half on those score lines like that. And they're going to get stuck down like this, and they're going to become the mechanisms that help hold up this piece here. So we want to have adhesive, and on this here, you don't want to use glue. If you use glue and you're laying this on top and you have to shift it, the underneath part is going to expose like glue where you don't want it, and then your card won't work right. So you have to use tear and tape or seal or something that's like a dry tape adhesive. Okay, glue dots would work. So now I have stickiness all the way on the back sides of these. And I'm looking to see. Yeah, I mounted that. I stamped that in the middle. So I want these to be mounted in the middle. And you don't want them to touch each other, but you want them to be right up next to that top score line right there. You see that? Okay, so keeping everything flat, flattening this down, hovering this over the top, and now you're going to slide and shift. And again, if you use glue, that's where it's going to mess up. Make sure that your words look good and parallel. Make sure that they are even from both sides here. Stick it down. And ta-da. Look how that works. Isn't that cool? Just pops it right up and off. Embellishments are the last part. We're going to use these Riverside irregular pearls. I love them. They have like this iridescentness to them, but you have like 3 different base colors, and then you can see when you turn them in the light, they shine in different color tones, right? Can you see that? Oh, that's a good angle right in there. And then there's 2 different sizes. I love having at least 2 different sizes. My favorite is always having 3 different sizes, but 2 is good. We're gonna squeeze the end of the gummy end of the take your pick tool, And for this one, I'm going to use the bluer colors. So let's grab one like this that has more of a green blue instead of a purpley blue. We're going to put that down here. That looks so pretty. And then we're going to take another one and we're going to put that like maybe right here. And then we'll take another blue that is like a greener blue. We'll stick that up here, a large one, and a small one over here. Then I'm going to stick these back into my plastic bag. I like to cut my my embellishments bags on the side so I can just slip them back in like that. I don't have to like peel the top and all that, you know. Okay. Oh, I wanted to share this tip too. I'm all full of tips today. When this dries, and you can see there's some dry areas here already, just use packaging tape or packing tape. And see, it cleans up the glue just like that. But when you do it when it's wet, what you're doing is basically, you can clean up what's around it, but then you're gonna have to wait for that to dry. So it doesn't clean it up completely until it's dry. Okay, and then again for this, I'm just gonna rub it once it's dry. All right, we have some other cards to share with you. This is one finished card. I'm gonna move these out of the way. These are the other two. And you can see that I use different words or word combinations on them. So this is the purple one. It starts out with the thank you because a thank you fits in that circle too. And then when you open it, it says a little kindness makes a big difference. You have room to write over here. This looks fairly centered when you open it. You can do your signature on this side. You don't have to have an open card though either. You can just have this piece that pops up, and this part here, if it's one small section or a quarter of a sheet of cardstock, you can just do all your writing over here, right? It doesn't matter if you do it this way or not, but I love that there's that option to have that little flap underneath. So this is You're the Best, thank you. We just did that one. And then we have You're the Best, so grateful for that heart of yours. Okay? Oh, another thought too, if you do one layer, thank you, you guys. If you do one layer here instead of having it open, you can still have this part decorated and then they just flip it over like a postcard, and this is where you can put your writing too. That's another option. And yes, Nancy, I think that was you that mentioned the microfiber cloth last time. I have not purchased one to use in my craft room, but that is something that a lot of people do to get the wet or sticky glue cleaned up in areas. I'll have to invest in one and give that a try. Okay. Oh, that's a good tip, Judy. She says the Dollar Tree store has silicone brushes. Two of them for, let's see, two different brushes, $1.25 each. Walmart has them for 97 cents. Good options. Shop around.